Mr. President, mo bien pian ko wum. You have merited the goodwill of your people. MPP fo nyina bo abaso. Entensi, Mr. President, send your wedi Kenyaka say unye interested in going for any third term no. Uwia mesro yanko home.
But we never see from 4 cedis 50 pesos. Or the fish na 17 cedis to the dollar.
Omumienu nyina ebre. Omumienu nyina yeku mo nkrofo. Omumienu nyina omo high, omo si apene. And on top of that, they are not making any progress. You transfer doctors akoboko monko. I'm asking myself, say, so be yaru oboko amane behel. In as much as I disagree with Adwoa Safo, it doesn't matter how I hate or love Kennedy Japan. No. I think Kennedy Japan also never be our kind of person. That is hunting you today.
Hi, Boadu TV. Yaba munyina kwaba. Now, NDC phobi pre say Mahama beko tete. Especially kwami APlus on the wakekeka. Say opese almost sombra na hwe na Mahama eko tete. Mahama 1 year eni ehu aka 3 years. Enti se okoye na oso beko na 3 years na aka na ye basade ana se de aye ne ka na aban. Eno na Otu Darko se munya asem no 3 years emuwa muntwen na munyi pressure fi Mahama so no mbu na memu obu na e kama Ghana fo abeka se onko. Enya fe na wodi 1 year na mu de pressure beto Mahama so munya no. Dada wa ye bi sida. Ma boyfo kufado betena so ne nkrofo ye hudo mo ye. Bokun sensem no otumfo aye wi o nana nkwaso pia o. Enti Otu Darko ne squad ne se. Ayemfu mienu no montra se no monwe ho se. Ye ba yamfa bibia mba ye kwa yemfa bibia nko. Mo kumu hu na mbo emfa hwema. Mo nja bibia ne nka. Na recommendation do tumfo ye no. Abamfa nyedwuma na so ndwemra boko. Anya samba kechi sao. Anya samba kechi. Na banda election NDC for MPP po mumpo. Abato ne bebaso.
This is Boadu TV. Truth and integrity.
At this time, Nana Akufo-Addo your president. In him name Abu. We mean train my own drop. Me catch us any can come again. So for bra. I mean come out. Cano creno. Market. I mean let us be honest. Let us be honest. The past 10 months, even though Abembia can do better and found in your mayeno, I am saying say this is one of the best leadership we have had since the inception of Ghana's democracy. And I say this without fear of favor. I'm telling you. President we you how many years ago? Sebi, President Unim Nyansa saying. President Ayenu 2027. And so the whole West African bloc say he's the sole candidate. You didn't call for AU chairmanship. 2027 Ukraine role. I am talking about a president who has merited the unmerited favor and grace of the Most High. Bible say ni papa pedi o man so a o man nya ni je na sa bonefo etremodinfo etutrafo when criminals lead the nation o man si apene. So for the past 8 years you see apene wo Ghana because criminals were leading us in this country. Wicked people etremodinfo abenfo and na dey so in the past 8 years in Ghana. You got to the market na say w journalist kura wo kasa kura na usuru ya pawakun asa ye hu niema okroma to obi antumi metu futuro enwu obi ani wo Facebook and our traditional media me wo henkwa dey I will dispel that. And na ye said that be phone lines microphone can say ebisa microphone say omko marketer enema what is saying. There were some few cases na ye kire say enema ne wo soro ye nte so de, but most of all the cases no mo kire say enema ye dey. And I'm not saying this because I want to eulogize John Mahama. No. And certainly me can no correct. I don't tell me so be politicizing. I don't care. Opa kura ka send this me na me buy. I don't care. Won't ya say to free Ghana. Me can no crack now. Because a name boy fu. Won't me can say name boy din. A bro bag na moto ne saying. No, last year a bro bag na saying. You are talking about over 1,000 Ghana cedis. And a bro bag, ubetime be 500 Ghana cedis. That is the truth. Kufo gallo. Anwo, you can say, anwa, kufo gallo. Now over 1,200. Ude mami fancy 1,000 cities. Ene ukra be 600 cities. It may be less. Ubenya kufo gallon. It is out if you kase. Enema boy dia. You are just being wicked and unreasonable. Oba say, ude among yourself hununa na wuti. Krofo sua de kanokre no. And now Asante region kra. Wo bia to Adwoa Mahama no. You understand the point I'm making? Wo bia to Adwoa Mahama no. And this one, I don't care if it's politics, I don't care if it's MPP Sam, I don't care if it's ND. Me kanokra chro. Sanity. And so George Owusu and Saba. I say tell Frank that he's a slave guy. Oh. I know the here also, but also that is his opinion. But tell me where the American congratulate to me. Bab Susie, also the frequency APlus pushes for third term bid for Mahama. Vows to test the law and rally Ghanaians. Number one, as a student of leadership and governance, law testing be here. The point is that what APlus is seeking to have is hidden at the entrenched part of the constitution. And it takes a 2/3 majority to change it. President Mahama has a 2/3 majority in parliament. Ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is that President Mahama person will cut her term. Menya sure say it needs the decision of any competent court of jurisdiction. I'm not sure. Except to say they do not have the numbers to cause a change in parliament later to be ratified by law. So that is one thing I want to say. But you see, and same be a mood, so to the Akwan can. But be any wabeka okruma. Because one wepe echo manual to me here appointment. Eti no kura no on can't let down for. Eti Obama President Mahama who say openasem. Obama President Mahama who saw panasem. But ABN you be free President Mahama hunti. I'm not talking about APlus or Mr. Ramo. Me kasa generally. My point is this. Mr. President, we are going to leave this stage when the applause is high, not when the applause dims. Mr. President, mo bien ko wum. And I use wum, I'm being parabolic with the usage of the word death, not as literally that name connotes, say normal death. The point I'm making, Mr. President, is that you have merited the goodwill of your people. Maybe apart from Kwame Nkrumah, and maybe at the early stage of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. Haley. This is one of the few government, Mr. President, you are privileged to be leading MPP Funyina Boabaso. And se sia no adwuma no ho no mo no a wo badwuma bibia de na kwam na constitution ma ho kwan say for the next 4 years wo ye adwuma no Mr. President send ya wo wedi kan aka say wonye interested in going for any third term no wo wi a mesro yenko home no bi amfa enkekan wa bia ma meka yata de fita na ya hye no because you are going down in history as one of the most competitive best president in the history of the world. In the history of the world. Because Menshadanya research in fact, when government came in a space of just 10 months, Mr. President, they are enjoying a single digit inflation peaked from 23.5% just 10 months ago. It is under your leadership and the say any government comes to power and in just 10 months exchange rate that stood at 16 cedis to $1 comes to 12. In fact, a barber 10 gra. And see, Mr. President, all time next year, look, there are a lot of things happening now. And you rather say what was soon tina yehuno. Mr. President, this is my humble opinion as your son. Please, we are not going for any theater. I can't decide for you, Mr. President, but I can suggest say we are not going for any theater. We are living when the applause is high. And those who will come after you, because of how what's the word? What structure, man? They will work in your structure. And you become a father for the party. Because they say, NDC, President Mahama, any say don't get here. Father be any ho. Your father JJ, wawu. Make us say, because me to abanma Mahama. Father Atameus, wawu. Vice President Amisa Ata, wawu. Father's ring na ko. Eti ye here will be on so better fie. Na mofra fum a wachere Mr. President, you are that person. Eti wo wie we na ye ko tena fie na ya tenetene wo mo eba. Memma obian deceive you na dawo. Catch us say you push for third term. Wo mo nka because on appointment Mr. President, wo man bia meje no kren so ntu ama me bi nso a because a journalist will say do Agongo station. The truth is the truth. It must be told even if you are President Mahama. And Mr. President, it's also because of Adwoa Safo as our don ebroso. So people like APlus, they mean well. They don't mean any harm because almost say, oh yeah, Adwoa. Look, and me nam poko ase kwan no so e ewurade na John Mahama kra no hye here one man temia. Wonam poko ase kwan no so a asa wo se free Heathrow Airport UK a kwan no a wusimu no. Me say, "Hey, Mahama de hit rubber Ghana." We mean can ha many. Wo bia nko for poko ase kwan no so. John Mahama ya na ye. In fact, sign entertain no my hono no. President Mahama one and a secure sa fans no. Na na kufuado. Scan minim nom de ye. Send jam to kan basa. How can you do such an overpass or interchange and yet the meandering roads ne link it to higher cities no? O kwa na ye. What thinking technically went into that? I just want to be simplistic as I can and be honest in my opinion as I can. Mr. President, if it's in the will of the Almighty that you shall rule Ghana even forever, Sambre Beba. But for now, let's concentrate on the better Ghana agenda for the good people of our country. And that is the advice I have for you this afternoon as your son. Yeah, ma obi anjiji enko wu. Da no say na mtena kwa mkwachika say na mama Lodina eye dwuma ekra de. Esanki make history na ye no finance minister am CMP mfa finance minister. Afei mami beji I know say it's not even possible but sanka mami beji a mami koye ye beka say what the musika kra na akosi maternity block. Meanwhile Lodina Mahama opposition kra no see hospitals. No see hospitals. It's way I me personal advice for the president. And NDC for the grassroots for I know that President Mahama is doing so well. I know. It's yenyaye and twaso. But Mr. Remo, ye ma papa home kakra. Emre no ede no ho beba. Se Ghana for no say onko for third term wa. Se emre no ebedru. But mum yenya pressure na de pressure President Mahama no na on concentrate in the deliverables. The agenda he has promised this country. Onko so enye segment. Kwame, me di eno atwere ho no no. Bibi say edie na Kennedy Japan. Aya Adwoa Safo. You see, look, Kennedy Japan may not be the best of politicians. Kennedy Japan ne whoever ejina say ebia NDC say ebia oni Julius Debra ana oni Chairman Asedun Ketia ana oni Eriko Poku omo epe president ye bi wa hia ana oni Haruna Idrusu ana oni current vice president Mami Opoku Ajiman. In fact, NDC omo like any day. Maybe into ma what they saying? Can I Japan? Metwa the other person. But you see, kwaya and edria what na say aje emfremano. Yem friend dua wa. Kwaya aje wo pen no. Yem friend kwaya wa. I remember, was in the 2020 elections, and you Canada, Japan, and Adwoa Safo Uluzu do mekwabinya. Because Alec Kurugu was a formidable force. But I remember, sir, the last hour, Canada Japan rolled in. I don't have a problem if you share your opinion on Canada Japan, but respectfully, and maybe our women should also learn from some of these things. Bema won wadija. Now your bronsam pass na obesi ne ntoma hata wabonti. Lawyer Adwoa Safo, you are entitled to your opinion. I do not begrudge you, but honestly, we are all opinionated. And in my opinion, I think say you goofed widely because ensemble kind on the mood be break. Now when you say we are secretary no krabia na yeka. Enti mpanyimfo say abakosam atwede da ho yen kan kyerɛnkyerima. But ebia na no kra abakosam. But twede da ho nti yen kan kyerɛnkyerima. Nyame ka ate ase. Te sɛ ne yɛpɛ sɛ yɛbɔko mediation. Ɛyɛ abakosam atwede da ho. Eti menya yanka kusasefo nkan kyerɛnkyerima. Man prisifo nkan kyerɛnkyerima. Enkyerima no will grow to know say they are one people. But the more you tell the history, the more opese and to kwaneko. How do you say, sir? And I don't want to repeat those words, but I mean, obi anu na mamumi no. That's my personal opinion, anyways. I'm think na bamia wa promise Adwoa Safo running mate ada. Adwoa running mate na farmer wo, when you forget. Whoever comes on the ticket of MPP, you have lost in advance. Me can not crash them. Don't mamo ham who because me 2028 ma to abano. Na me ache yen kwa ya to me na me to first. Me to my NDC. And me to my NDC as a journalist because I've come to realize say yen nkrofoti no we must lead the way. Those were the times, ladies and gentlemen, when journalists hid themselves under the bracket of neutrality or you neutral. Na ebi din kwasias neutrality yent na kufa de bekum 8 years ago. Journalists were supposed to rise up and tell the man say Charlie eno okay Ghana ya baby ade Ghana ekono ofane but journalists were me neutral media me person be hu say me NDC me journalists for count of man we are saying because yen kan no kra nkyere wo mu kra to me ena awie Mahama me penasem Mahama me to abama no oba 1 million times me to abama no but what I feel about his third term ma ka kire na wie ana senior menkai no mawu Mahama kaso mama appointment mewu. The truth is the truth, it must be told. It doesn't matter who is at the receiving end. Eti I feel strongly that Adwoa Safo and I say okay second in Japan be can say yeah the charter flight that Adwoa Safo by time you be to Ilevi abano. And them say eguso Adwoa Safo ahye no. Kwam say Kennedy nso horo no pa ahye no. But anyways, obi ene won motimi edua buro kotwa kwadu. Kennedy, the law of karma is real. Won so ne ade yen krofo okrom hai. Asofo gi om shine. Ewo won sa no, ewo wanum. Ma gi om shine. Okay, kan wadwen kire wom. Almost all the important people, or groupings that form an integral part of Ghana's democracy and shine. It may be the law of karma has come. In as much as I disagree with Adwoa Safo, it doesn't matter how I hate or love Kennedy Japan. No. I think Kennedy Japan also near be our kind in the past. No. That is hunting you today. Gilbert Lamptey, also president can't decide for himself. It is the people who decide for him. Yes, I know. Sir President Mahama intimate decided. And market, a back a crown, more back clamor, Sir President Mahama should come and almost pa. But me dear, this is my personal opinion. Because Obinim near day nim dache. So far, President Mahama Yade, he has been able to consolidate his name. To the extent say, Anka he should clamor it with African Union, you know. Not Uncle Bim. And I know South African Union Chairman Obinya. So he should climax it with African Union, you know. No Uncle Bim. And you have to know some president Debbie. One tenacity. On shen nananum. On shen me mame Lodina mame. On chen odo mame. On son and sa on fad Lodina Nko Beach. O hono mwa na o makwatena kakra. Omunjo meni. What I say, akra wabre onye 50 man started politics. Home. Na mama mami enye mami fa ne ko shopping. What I say, na president munji mani ofio. That's it. Nya feel na pressure Debbie. So that's my opinion anyway. That's how I feel about the whole process. That's how I feel about. And now about me tape no. Ojo. The name so was tape na. His recent comment that he made. Uni so ama menko boko. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first establish. Say we a journalist a babo consensem no a okasa misraw ayakasa yi. Let me educate. No. Forgive me. Let me advise my brothers and sisters who are journalists. Who will read you? It's not your duty to tell the fashion that is right or the fashion that is wrong. It's not your duty. Our duty is to communicate, for instance, content of the report, presidential position, the fashion that also brought in their position. Read it as it is. Don't add your weight on matters that can escalate. Don't. Say kusasi for ne right. Say mamprusi for an right. It is not in my place to say. But it is within my place to call for peace as a journalist. But for no me my catch from the that. Say they have two choices. And the first choice is for the Kusasis and the Mamprusis to embrace peace and live together forever in love as one people. Or for them to decide otherwise and perish together as fools. I've said this on radio. The decision is theirs. Say Kusasis and Mamprusis for better together. They forget it. Because yen nyina ye Muslims, yen nyina ye Christians, yen nim se osoro yen fa dwapade bebre nko. Ne yen nyanti asese yen nyina ye nuanom. Kusasis fo aware mamprisifo. Mamprisifo aware kusasifo. Enti die na ye ko ye hui. Na yen nyasa anti ase na ye betena febo wasumdwem se nipa baako. Ana ye pa yen kosekase yen nyanti ase. Ebe kakra no, mu beku mu hu wo hono mu nyina. Me ba be fa sase nam de amocheman. I'm speaking in parables. I'm speaking in parables. I will not go there. But you see, my main reading, my Otu Darko for leading the mediation process. And like you said, when you arbitration, make us 10 minutes I stop him. Why not? When you form any income. When you arbitration, when you mediation process. And see, and you fena you betre near weti and near when you. But Osha Krata president, Mr. President can say in 24 hours. The Krata Baba Bonti. Nana Kufa the president Crank Obeji reports national pass and could be anti and could be catch something crass among kind. The radius is only. But a transparent leader like John Mahama, once an something it can be bia. There be a Kufado time we Akufado report no. Sure. Ba mi haje kan no say favor ne crop for obi anto okroma. Ba Mahama de. Na mi wura kra manage wo say me kan ni nyina. Obi anka say ya doctor bibi. Ti na kan ni nyina. Ewi na Mahama President Mahama so e kan de nos in 24 hours. And thanks you. And he has lived up 24 hours no on the Krataba. Government of Ghana official statement on the Boko conflict mediation report. I can't read all. Na person. Endorsement of the mediation report and its recommendation. I've jumped the introduction. 1. The government fully endorses and accepts all the findings and recommendations contained in the mediation report. Let me jump that one. 2. In particular, the government affirms the unequivocal position of the law as consistently upheld by the Supreme Court of Ghana. That Naba Asigri Abugragu Atsoka, the second, is the lawful Boko Naba, and that no individual or group is permitted under any circumstance to contest his authority or legitimacy. And this, he says it's in the position of law because there have been a ruling some time back. Okay. 3. Government accept the recommendations that Alhaji Saidu Abagri, who was installed as a rival claimant to the Boko chieftaincy, be recalled to the Narelugu by the overlord of Mamprugu, the Nairi. And Nairi I've been to that man. It's a nice man. Ochemin confirmed too. Send ye Ghana chieftaincy I was. And before who said you nyamu, no say enfama munye. Saying, me my idea about me fair but minister they not correct, but honorable Kofi Jamesi. Time no, yeah. See NDC abay me say no nananama himfo abaso body adwumadi. Oh, it was beautiful. The first one your far high, I said the late Professor Emeritus Dasibro Tibuate. Honor of far, yeah. You know. Also in particular, the government affaired the unequivocal position of the law consistently upheld by the Supreme Court of Ghana that Naba Asigri Abugragu Asoka, the second lawful Bokonaba, government accepted the recommendation that Alhaji Seidu Abagri, who was installed as rival claimant to the Boko chieftaincy, be recalled to Darelugu by the overlord of Mampurugu, the Nairi, to assume an alternative traditional role. 4. Pursuant to this recommendation by His Majesty Otumfuo Setutu II, the government will immediately facilitate the safe movement of Alhaji Seidu Abagri to Darelugu. 5. Government further respectfully requests His Majesty Otumfuo Setutu II to continue to lend his distinguished leadership. Okay, so that is it. 6. Government acknowledges that the protracted conflict has resulted in grave human, social, and economic losses. Maybe to us over time in Hunti, me kind only the controlling idea. 7. Insecurity over the years has severely constrained public and private investment and stalled critical infrastructure development. In response, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Minister for Finance to establish a 1 billion Ghana cedis Boko. Mahama. Chale mama sanyu Mahama is the masa mama sanyu man is the title near day. By now, ubi bufu efuno. Never mobe. Too free Ghana. I can't crash your denti. I fanyum ni two na me. What President Mahama want to revitalize Boko 1 billion. Just say Mahama ni nyansa too much. Na say nyansa we. Na say be di yesu. Adan. Oh, mami hwewa. Over Facebook I know share my. Mami hwewa hanu. Say do na see the boy, ana. Mami hwewa. Kwajo. Hwehwe mame. Na sanyum no memo because I don't know. Such powerful man. My name say we are. I don't know if it's this one. Let me try this one and see. Because Mahama dear. Let me see this song. Okay, let me see this one. Hey, Jai, you know me here. I'm temporary. We say, Mame Mahama is there. Oh. Kwajo, what was animal? And temporary. Let me hear you. Mam Sanyo, Mahama is the hope. Because also per se, Boko Center and also. So 1 billion. And these are things the president wants to do to get Boko back. The fund which shall be disbursed over a 3-year period. Okay, that's it. Then call for national support and reconciliation. See, you know, so enuna President Mahama de Babontin. Name a year from the Mampurugu Traditional Council or area. Nayiri, His Royal Majesty Dano, also declared to be Babontin. And like I've said, it's not within the place of any journalist to show which fashion is right or wrong. Epacho. And penyufo no enim nyansa no. They say na no say to. Any John Mahama money Nayiri money come na they will be able to solve it. Yenso ye de adwin ebe kan bad msremo. Mo me hwe ye kasa yi. En fa won say opekusase fo asem sen na Mampurusi esem kusase. Blood moje bia eye equal. It's not right say be hwe moje. It's young can somewhere there some beba. After all, they are our brothers, they are our sisters. The Nayiri overlord of Mampurugu wishes to formally and unequivocally distance the office of the Nayiri and the people of Mampurugu from the so-called mediation reports presented by Otumfuo Setutu II in respect of the Boko chieftaincy dispute. At this point, me who say na min kan nyina because controlling idea no crash shake me. But Otu Darko, for this reason you were given to humanity. Journalist for Ninkano. Rather do by second. I have taken note with profound disappointment and grave concern. The presentation described as a report and recommendations by Otumfo. Mekan near Nairi Ankasa, Mamprugu for the Bayan. Say following Otumfo's report, no, any president in Sonny the Bayan, Mamprugu for no, and so Ediomo. Say you know the overlord is the Nairi. And I'm sure say me corn hono or chama confirm too. Yeah. Obisam say, me nana dear now the Bayan. So kwa him fear so de cola. I'm so, Yanfa cola mo. Or senyashi. Wam remishe, but me de mechawa de. Madam for Baku, ye be seen Saturday. Ifa, ona mene ne koe. The pictures are. Okwaefo, obetena obe yum pabwa no watena e form ho. Oh, Charlie. Anyways. I must state clearly and without reservation that the so-called report and recommendations does not reflect my engagement with Otumfo, nor those of my duly constituted mediation team. I therefore formally reject the report and recommendations in it entirely for the following reasons. The purported reports and recommendation in question do not constitute a valid mediation, and any attempt to present it as a binding or to seek government enforcement is legally untenable, procedurally flawed, and constitutionally impermissible. Otumfo expressly described his role as that of a mediator and not an arbitrator. Notwithstanding, the document purports to pass judgment and to prescribe measures for enforcement, act wholly inconsistent with the nature, limit, and essence of mediation. Despite repeated and formal requests by my mediation team, no terms of references were ever provided to govern the mediation process. Contrary to the expectations that both the former president Nana Akufo-Addo and the current president John Dramani Mahama would have clearly indicated what these terms of reference were. 4. I am compelled to ask what manner of mediation permits a mediator to unilaterally reach determinations and call for their enforcement without first affording the parties an opportunity to be heard on their reasoning, views, or proposals. Respectfully, let me leave it here. Now, we used to be in Chirimu Chimu. Tiene de ene na kana brofo ma ka wi nkojo nye bibia na echire mo batwi mu what I say ma kana brofo yi eno ano no aji so mo fa me twi teacher. But this is what I have to say relative to the Boko case. If you are an indigene of Boko, be proud of yourself, whether Ufri, the Kusasi fraternity, or the Mamprusi fraternity. I have been in Boko, and I know how loving and peaceful the people are, but for this conflict. I am suggesting to you that we give peace a chance. And I also encourage Otumfo say, ma letter winsu munabam. Now, my encouraging president say, whatever the detail of the letter is, yemfre the overlord of the Mamprugu, and I am calling now so I hinkesi na ono so nchiri mo peso de chire no yenti na supam na yem factor. And that is why it is a mediation process and not a mediation event. To wit, it does not end until you have a lasting peace. As a student of peace and security, yechire bibi, and they call that the ripeness theory. And you can see clearly how it is fashioning out. And in that ripeness theory, say, when both factions in war or in conflict, in this case the Kusasis and the Mamprusis, are mutually hurting, and their actions reach a stalemate, as in, and on top of that, they are not making any progress. Because you heard the president say, when we say you transfer doctors, I'm asking myself, say, so be yaru under development because of this conflict. Obi am person beko, teacher from person beko. So certainly, no Kusasi, no Mamprusi can win this war. Nobody. The war, this conflict is totally unimportant for any Kusasi or for any Mamprusi. And that is what we should understand. As for the issues That is why there's a mediation process. So the point I'm making is this: if you were Kusasi, don't worry. If you were Mampusi, don't worry. Let's give the mediation process a chance. Na nia ohinkesi enso aka no so yemfa ya sonko ho. The other fashions also can be bia yemfa ya sonko. As we go forward and we detail and some more now we put it together. And like I said, we na nyese bu otumfo abam ono so nyine ne ho as the head of the mediation process. At the end of the day, we want to see peace in Boko. If you are from Boko, whether Kusasi or Mampusi, know that we love you. But no, like I said, it's better we live together peacefully as one people, or we perish together as fools. And we cry for peace.
The Ministry of Education.
Okay.
My issue statement say a teacher for no and now do omokano.
Okay.
And we use this opportunity to thank them for their patience.
Fantastic.
At least Christmas we there almost somewhere because almost we say Christmas event almost no music but aban papa ba it will be a bedi
aban papa ye ko bronye timiti fuel so what be that
and there teacher for no the moment number you active there say we saka mo dia na mo hwe
more fire
Next time you can do Christmas and can we say manima she and that is the point aban be two fuels be two onyama so ama timem for be breast on beton. But this time round, fuel has actually been what? Reduced. We need a respite for timem for. So the Biameka said, you see, President Mahama's model must be studied in the university. His governor's model ought to be studied in the university. For how to understand, appreciate the way already. And you know, the be away we be alone. Now, the issue on the table. Otu Darko. We Wednesday, December 17th, 2025 graphic. Now, what's your banner headline now? As Otu first settles Boko dispute. Now, Ayandra. I'm the mediation report now. Already the entire report for the Ghanaian people to appreciate. Now recommendations are coming to me now already to them obiati. Now President Mahama in a response, like I say within 24 hours on the response, Baba, and as a government position, Baba. They did kind of member for any committee about so say they've done a yeoman's job because to immediate a thorny issue like Boko conflict, we need a certain kind of wisdom. 100.5. And once again, the wise king has demonstrated his capacity in managing issues such as this. In the about so about committee so about to for Juma my day. Now, what's a lot of recommendations about the AB kind of say whatever are containing a report both factions must agree to work with the recommendations of the world
before implementation.
Before implementation.
Can you say that again? It's important.
Whatever committee the recommendations contain both parties
must agree before implementation.
Yes, and ensure it is implemented to the latter. Because I mean, the Biameka said the Boku issue has robbed the community of its economic development for quite a long time. Conflict in Amma development, I think, a cause war, Bokuni in Potem, catch. Because most of the banks have relocated. Businesses are all be more to acquire. In Mebu, I don't know how much my year to help the local economy of Boku be near to it.
I've been there. Made the home, I think the students or you were not part. Those times, no, it was not election, but I think that was University Student Association of Ghana or something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, some of us were handpicked by some MP investment bonity. Ama, you move where the echo, my students, go man, like a volunteer. Oh, just for 3 days or something. I spend all. You get to a town called Zebula. Now, I want confirm there. can be. But what confirm? Charlie, they should allow peace because we have to come there. Charlie, it's a nice. So I asked somebody, I had a boko. No, I'm saying, but nobody is fighting. No, see when it triggers.
Because
Charlie, peaceful people.
At a point, if you are to boko cry, you may think that they be almost.
Oh, Massa, peaceful community.
Easy. So, baby,
I'm guessing so over.
Nana Otu Darko. Madam, it's you.
I'm a professional journalist.
Professional journalist. You see, the American say development in Puntu and Sanka Kosovo and in enclave. Because of us beginning. And now we share Sasamoya American, we share government reporter. Issue government issue for the first question. Say we are 1.6. Otu. The mama kura makanga catch it. Socio-economic recovery and development of Boko. The government can make 0.6 and 7. As the government acknowledges that the protracted conflict has resulted in grave human, social, and economic losses, significantly undermining livelihoods, social cohesion, and development prospects in Boko and its environment. 7 or say, insecurity over the years has severely constrained Boko and private investment. I'll take that again. Point 7. Insecurity over the years has severely constrained public and private investment and stalled critical infrastructure development. In response, before my call responses, government say development in both private and public. I think a cost of investment. I think a year ago, I met them for more who many a Jumaye. I'm on some command to better their lives. I catch it because of the anti-power. The government say, and that the mediation reports now ban. What is the government doing? Then you better to ensure say that development I catch them. You better left it. Government say you better any. Otu. I say in response. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama has directed the Minister for Finance, that's Atu Forcing, to establish a 1 billion Ghana cedis Boku revitalization fund. Vice President was saying it. I say, and I'm saying development akechire. And I'm saying puntu akechire okromwo entino. Wa catch the finance minister Atu is forcing. Say yes, certifying be ya to nidin Boku revitalization fund. Na sa
Boku NCC.
Yes. Then you bet me say kunu manade afa ne ntoma pa efra.
Asenya home can be.
Asenya home can be. Into see we twesika botin. Obi see pay 1 billion Ghana cedis. Say ye first asika na yeden embo Boku bra. Na make sure say development actually atwape e wo Boku ni importem no. E be say den aso de jane na so. Na mebu omo firi wo de omo ho na be de e be say akono manya adwuma ye. Na sa sika no government say de be ye ni road infrastructure. You be building roads. The basic hospital. Fifth compound. Ejuma you be building ejuma wo say na be ya mebu
ti Boku be krab.
Because they say we are tested. But because of as we are any went never be bad catch. So President Mahama them moon since you answer one. I see with the 1 billion Ghana cedis.
It is heavy.
Very, very heavy. It's what say yen fe in redeveloping Boku ni importing. You make sure say development at happy or one. You be see kronu na ya makona nya na nice. So for me and then there was any and that is the most I mean you can say the head the power seven say man penny say and for
nti sɛ wowɔ Bɔkɔ na sɛ woyɛ kusase na yɛ mampusini we na yɛ the take away ɛyɛ sɛ wɔde wadwene ɛkɔ so say development ebe baboko.
The development.
The technicalities they mean say media process mediation process will take care of it. Yeah.
But yen embrace the committee in the debate na yen sure say that's the about senior president there two way will be assessed and utilized for the purpose of which has been what created.
Very well.
So for me can maybe say some no the issues are there. Two for committee no have dealt with it substantially. Yeah. So and your fiance ever come back to reopen the webs.
In fact, it doesn't even lie now.
Yes, into with the basic as the major
in Korabi. Yeah, I mean to you. Yeah, now one can say offering.
Bimbila.
Bimbila, okay.
Yeah, from the northern region. Minya Wakasen, like Wakasen Minya, but I think say this mediation process Minya, it came at the right time. Why am I saying it came at the right time? Because how would you feel say what you are from Neboko? That Christmas would be intimate for Ukraine. I will show young people more way for Kokoribia, for Cape Coast, way calling how to put your crap intimate for that would be so sudden. So I think say mediation will be at the right time, and I think say both parties know this is when they need to embrace peace. And I think say this should be a celebration mood for everybody, including those staying in Accra, Kumasi, everybody, because this fight and I say the whole crisis and started we started way back in 2000. President before Baye.
No, and no, it's in the 50s.
In the 50s.
Yeah, but I mean,
in the 50s, very.
This is with
But
reference to the mediation. The mediation processes,
No. Then you joined late because the mediation process, there was something started.
Yes,
from the 50s. Yes.
Every president
there been attempt.
In
Nkrumah time, no.
Rollins are there.
Yeah.
When to resolve it. Before Baye or tries when to me that was even to some extent realign the National Peace Council to restructure the framework of the Peace Council. And also by a went to me. Papa may so rest in peace, Professor Ivan Satamos. To some extent, he even brought some social intervention programs in Boko just for the people to be able to come together to terms that, I mean, peace and development is what is needed. Yeah, former president Akufo-Addo and also Robert Nabaso and also Yebi. I think say Onona Oberi for say, or let me say we called the Otu Darko to start with the mediation.
Yeah.
His Excellency John Dramani so and also Abba. But I think say even as a former president and a current president, this is all what they train. So she say Abba no there peace should take the lead. But Boko for also no. This is a humble appeal. But from afar, we've seen how economical distress they have been through over the past years. So, and to some extent, so this is the time say Boko for no. Say no. Regardless of whoever is the king or the chief or what is it, peace is paramount. Peace here it's not a way to say the mediation effort was not fruitful. It was fruitful because both parties were caught in. So both parties no mabano to say whatever outcome that will come from his wise kinship, Otunfono, we are going to work with. So I think we shouldn't go forth and back discussing this matter because I before Mebano, the whole report be about the what's the name? Malaji Sebi, which is the other faction denouncing himself from the report. But
no, that is from the Nair himself.
Yeah,
the overlord of that book. Yeah, the overlord of Mampugu.
Yeah, but I think even though his statement came, but Oshe, I think paragraph 26, you could clearly see that
He's
one way or the other.
For peace.
He's for peace. He said
we should call on them to remain.
He
calm.
called on his own people that they should be peace. So that means like Obiya per peace, no, because it's not nice.
Nti Rabi, I don't know about can say before implementation, we should make sure say all factions agree to what is going to be implemented. Now we should not make the radius say some of these things. That's why we should not, as a country, impose ourselves on any of the fashion. Exactly. I'm choosing my words carefully. Exactly. Whether respectfully from those leading the mediation process, or from incumbency, or from opposition, or from whoever is involved. Yemania fashions ne can. Any near mediators no more lead no can. And any the overriding principle they be implemented whatever we want to implement. When I'm saying I make microphobia so that at the end of the day, make us say we dear na mintiase na being so make us say we dear man can say they should all be in sync. Say we the nyina ye kan we and a mediation process no na ya implement. We should not be in a haste also as a government.
Oh yeah. But I think say okay, the statement of the president too, and also it came timely. It came timely because okay, one of the key promise he said that even if Mahama says you return a lady to your man, I believe it because I say Mabeka Bianwaye. So it came timely because one mad the people of Boku reassurance like send a mean can
hope.
Giving them hope, say whatever you have lost within the past years, we're establishing a revitalization fund to redevelop the Reno economy. So in the first company, woke up on what say a bank couple person says in Chrome. Like whatever pain or hatred that you have against your partner, naturally it resolves. So I think say the timely intervention of the president's proposal to them is also good.
Very well.
But I think we cannot conclude the statement without thanking the Tunfo. In fact, Tunfo was here. The man born about was here from the beginning. Like one can say, like when the request came to him, he accepted it willingly. So I think say.
You remember he sat on the Indy?
Yeah. So we at this point they made a bomb by a man say his wise wisdom should impact positively on everybody, especially I mean it can happen anywhere. But this is where I am very passionate about his commitment towards resolving chieftaincy issues and all those things. For really after Metro Dono Junior, Meche Ghana Fuska, yes. Oh, what's that? And to Wefa phone, will be a phone phone. They be network in Nijima, and then the radius is a monk. Quajo, you will pay Yanche Ghana Fuska, Skakuno. Met to be about minimum there, but I'm saying this on a lighter note. It may be for laughs, but I think that then can be a part of the mediation. Yanka, it will be part of my recommendation. Kamara could be say a handful, you know. Nice getting nice boy, Bieno. Can they marry the two kingdoms? To say, Bia, maybe a fashion A, Namina, me your hair, you could say, we a fashion B, when I your hair, man, Cruciform. Take a beautiful lady from Debbie, I'm talking about the two main, like deliberately. Yes, so for instance, respectfully, with all due respect to the Nairi, say Bia, Nairi, the Baba and the Nana, maybe the other fashion, then deliberately as a nation, we get them to marry and unite because you are married. The two kingdoms, so what next? Anyways.
Yeah, Nana. The answer to my question, Madam was in Jumapa, Obama Ghana, one of the finest and objective
More
Ghana
professional journalist.
Professional journalist. ɛna adwuma wo bɔ wo ka no sɛ na ɛte nti keep on your tracks because we are government na wontie advice a ɛde wo kɔ ɔhaw mu nti sɛ na wokɔ no kɔ no saa na deɛ wombɛtie no no yɛntie.
But you check us out on Facebook.
On the Boku crisis, no, I am the say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Aban no omo anfa politics. And brim. Now more refer matter no to the renowned Asante in Otu Darko to the second. So no on your mediation no. Eba no say ekoba no say ebia Ministry of Chieftaincy and local governance almost set up committee. No almost yeah, very really political meanings into it. It was a very wise decision from the wise president of the republic. So I'm very fair to Asante, not all political colors from it. Not decision about not decision about. So same way and way back from generations upon generations on my inherited. Yeah, my court decisions upon court decisions. But then I said no, that's so ecoso fighting that. So we must change approach in some way resolving them. And one of the ways, no, thinking out of the box. Into suggestion, okay, maybe I'm supporting because court cases.
Yeah. Let's try this approach too and see.
But one of the good things about this process is say in the mediation process.
Ghana Bandam was to get serious.
One of the
person just said me solution.
Oh, solution. I bet to me. I think I watched.
But you know in the past
they were doing it.
We should a movie.
When the two when you have two, even in movies.
Yeah,
so hand in hand can when they marry, it's united them.
Me sure a movie.
Okay.
And there were like 2 towns, and I draw a line. I separate Momoko, but na man no. Ne or Bema.
Okay.
Other faction also no more Baba. And Bema no and Obano were in love.
Yes.
And because they're in love, no way color no red, color no yellow. Because they're in love, no family papa mo try some separate musa the point safi ya mamu chance on be ko chef for so no omo ye omadia mo di odo any de kaka hom. Nti ya lock you share them, and even the maid at the point in time, no the mothers. Mommy more realizes say then Colano Omudomo, so they're helping them exchange love letters among them. So one of the chance among your time and Omoko Yomana Obano Yemye. Obano Yemye no na de papa say why na I name the and so Bano red and yellow. Once a woman red or yellow. Only the red and yellow. And from that day, you know, so boundary now I separate your mono. So because of the love
they came together.
Not existed from the children, despite the fact that on my wofo no omo and tawa no because of Sabano, because a banner no red and yellow into because
but no, you see this approach it may sound lighter, but you're potent.
And we are thinking out of the box.
Yes.
A solution.
Because I know I'm here or something we can say, Papa, why are they? Name one come so maybe was suggestion back. Thank you, the account say. Me abide the bit my be to make sure say the 2 kingdoms. You be worry. And we should marry a more important person. Yes, it will be KK. Make sure you marry the daughter or something of the chief.
Yeah.
So the 2 chiefs, they are close to get married.
Yeah, so thinking out of the boss solutions, maybe now work on I said because court process they are here. And one of the good things about this kind of process is the fact say the parties no say for mediation. Say you better say na an independent obi a on your judge and on your politician. Obejina mu na wati we na mediation no. Na we be assisting for no be buan for no arrive at a solution and a conclusion. And you know the solution normally in mediation no. But you utie we na utie we sometimes no channel of communication car breaking because of break in communication no etimi de tawa enemy ntimi wase etimi de ba nti we independent mediator no one of the things no is open be kwan no na almost start say open the channel for communication no mutimi akasa ye na another thing no say they can be communicating but munti wase nti we independent mediator no awo honum no so one of the things no say Obama Omuati, I say, Obama, we at their way cancer, now we so at their way cancer. They can communicate because of anger, because of emotions. Omuntisa Yamano. So the fact that the party submitted for mediation is a plus for us. Now, Otu for the solution and the final decision about, or say the final decision, who should the graphic number pay today now. So Otu for stated unequivocally that the current position of the law, as affirmed by the Supreme Court of Ghana, was that Asigri Azoka remained the lawful Boku Naba. The final resolution of the Boku matters requires that Sedu Abagre be recalled to Nalerigu by the Nairi to be reassigned to play another traditional role at the palace of the Nairi or to assist the state. And I answer to me, Obet Naboku so Obet Naboku as an ordinary.
Okay. So let me also serve an underpinning to that. Recommendations are recommendations. Recommendations are not binding.
Yeah.
We recommend.
Yeah.
Means you may want to apply or not. So let's Yema Atiefo who said that is what the mediation process recommend.
Yeah, that's what the mediation
but
process
the implementation must happen when both parties are also in sync.
Yes. And I mean,
because there's also a letter from the Mampu.
Yes. It's a way and a decision from the mediation process by Otu for no in But the next leg I may a government action. How you bet to me executive President of the Republic, the wise His Excellency John Dramani Mahama Eka say within 24 hours. No, you be public na ya hu. Say you make sure say you be enforcing law and order. Apart from enforcing law and order, no, say you have to be making sure all the parties no abide by the decision and answer recommendation aba. Saying to me my parties no abide by the recommendation ejuma ya na no air cost 90. Mepa obi biara all tie me of free ampa is of free boku ehonum. Makobo me call apa boku honum about a month ago. I will share on my landscape. We share the rich nature. We even share the location maybe a omo Boku stands to be one of the biggest economic centers in Ghana. Boku stands a high potential to develop faster than Senaka Swaka develop it. Boku stands a high chance to develop faster than Sena Dodoa develop it. But why say up to date? Who posted civil servants? Boku. Who posted doctors? Boku. Who posted teachers? Boku. Who posted journalists? Boku. Because of the conflict, because of the fight, because of chaos, that fight and chaos will be our team. Is causing a major problem for people coming from there. Then and then we will be a officer honum. Now catch it. Now ubisa now okay. Anami ubisa mi se mi enkaini. But ubisa obi na say oh mi fi boku pe. One na ye kun to kwanu wona. Ubisa obi na kasa fi boku pe. Ye ga say one na ye kun to kwanu wona. You see you're carving a bad image for yourselves. So the current generation and the people existing now no. They say yen to me my peace and rainy. To be around the political color. And I say obey was here instigating Gofonona to me arriving at a conclusion. Even the final decision here can also be amended to make sure say parties are satisfied before the implementation is
exactly.
done.
So that is what I said.
Excellency say they will look at the report, they will review the report before they proceed with the implementation. And just say the final decision so be from the mediation committee is so final. The information say oh okay yen concern na say yen say one or two be enfim na yen to me implementing na before long time no na voter film say oti onum
oti region alabanyo
ni nkonya ntokwa ko say na peace about honum. You see every country e trademark omo Dubai omo nim say omo ne nyama bebe omo invest in tourism. One of the things I mind go for Ghana. Enye yepe na yawo po West Africa o. Enye yepe na yawo oil West Africa o. Enye yepe na yawo banks West Africa. But one of the things that attract investors to come to Ghana, one of the things that attracted tourists to come to Ghana And one of the things that Ghanaians are known for internationally is the peaceful and nature of Ghanaians and how hospitable that we are. So say you were region a small community in a particular region maybe and tokwawa honum any bad publicity about the country. Now because peace I hear Ghana na yesu me aka say because of the peace don't say tourist attraction go for understudy some of the, even though we are not making sure say you be upgrading market your tourist center say this December way meaning say a Black Star experience more activities be meaning say the diaspora affairs unit Kofi Otu Darko almost nyama rolling. No matter how you market these things, no matter how you market December in Ghana, Black Star experience and whatever, no matter how you tell the world say and at two forcing, I'm making sure say inflation stagnant, and now say the interest rates at the bank level no accord down no. Now we need peace our country no more. Obia emba invest our Ghana. So the peace we have in Ghana no there say to me cherish and protect it. So now even though you need boku no you one kind your central region, your voter region, I say you brought together. Now you're making sure say you be boy you no more boku because you have one Ghana. Now you're making sure say peace no e be reign na exist e wo honum. Nti wo unua bi e wo honum. And I say wadan for now say family member wo honum I say to me fa kasa all the two factions. Then I cool. Then I the bury I say. Then I the beko. Most of the rich ones say yes, go for ujina honum. We came with nothing and we'll go with nothing. It's a problem at your bro. Na yema peace and brana boku fan economic cloth papa. I say on friend and on friend na boku and konim.
That's it.
Because suspense can die by election. Now, we provide education. Suspension and say election and
Accra FM
100.5 issues now on a dozen. Ain't no Yanchin Transwansa. Now, I think on the 13th January, right? I'm back to now, Yanchin Transwansa. So, we and yet victory for the MPP. Now, already, men said they are jubilating. And I'm about court in Abaso that the court has ruled in their favor. When I'm saying, when MPP for hypocrisy, they be recently, Tamale High Court the decision by him. After your marking, I MPP minority leader, had described the court as what kangaroo court. Then that the room on the Omoniaji. They are running head scatter with the decision.
I'm surprised that court didn't free up in up to now for contempt.
You see, when people for Yachimono, the so-called apostles of rule of law. The only time I'm back to the rule of law, only time MPP for Dinkunim. So Mudin Kukodia and the rule of law in Yajuma. What can I say? Tamale High Court issue in Bayern. Almost a decision crying for Twinchain. I didn't say clerk to parliament, actually, my easy. They should go and do rewrite. When the clerk to parliament has clear mandate, constitutional mandate, and administrative mandate to execute. Almost say infant Twinchain. So everything is about them. Then you're more dear. Before say, at a channel see, Ninchinachi, the address idea. It's union dia and they are. And some was about in wrong, and then dry address for dinner, no. Address of some no kayan. That is the true nature of the MPP. So they are not looking at the greater good and as the collective good. They are looking at the individualistic benefits. Jombenya Fimu. Address of a catcher and say, Omo Mudiba will near Chinano. And yes, they believe in the competence of Dr. Baumia. And yes, they believe that Dr. Baumia can do something for Ghana. And yes, they believe that Dr. Baumia can change the fortunes of this economy. But dear Omwefu, and your menyanti, no Dr. Baumia. And so, this question say, second dear Japan, what becomes of her political future?
Oh, no, you know.
And by inference, the catcher say, Omo mudi ba Dr. Bawumia chi nyina no.
Omo de mo
funa na. Say never pere betu we president. No ma bebe luti. Say the way luti in the last 8 years. Enti no. Ene bi na modern bi na modern court decision. Ye luti omo ne de court ne kangaroo. Ba ye ruling mo omo ne de and the court ne ye. Double standards. Them because they be after you marking home. I say so and so man too much. Master is can go to ya. Otu.
You say me same sister.
So go to your uncle. Master is can no G and okay G.
You say me say Elom Afambia.
Uncle to say can. The level of mismanagement after you marking a year ECG. I don't know one majority leader I catch no. So she catch you dey any mismanagement of course ECG. You are not bothered. You are not concerned about how to fix mess now we live here. But off record kangaroo. Now, Otu Darko, what are we talking about? Ayensembe. MPP foresee Oma Court, Supreme Court. Oma file for statutory what application. Fair. Application Oma filing, it is not about court decision at the bar, you know. Almost say gazette notification of results, you know. NDC for your court. Once some gazette results now, and some court within 21 days. Almost your court after the 21-day window. Near see, Mohu, intro, and how fraudulent the MPP is. MPP for Omwa candidate Martin Dam. Omo document omo the back court omo affidavit omo swear to omo catch a court say the gazette notification of the results was done on the 6th of January 2025. This is from contested. So on the basis of that affirmation in the court, NDC for withdraw earlier what application. They file the application based on the moment omo say gazette notification was on the 6th. And then we the Supreme Court. I got you and say, gazette notification na yes set na 24th. Now, instead of say this exposes how fraudulent the MPP is. And the court when they be sure. So why when somebody about court, High Court, we got you and say gazette notification was done on the 6th. So how do you now come to the Supreme Court to say it wasn't on the 6th? When the EC did not contest that affirmation in the court. And you know, any double standard, no. Sometimes I can say exposing. Now, what are the issues? Otu, you are well educated, and I know how unim electoral issues. CI 127. Who read this section 43 from A up to G? Actually, how electoral results are collated. Police station results are collated. Except as a 1 year collation, yes, inference are cry from I say. Now, basa yoba. That's what I say. We move collation center from a cry FM. Only 2 things now war out which we are here. Either say, over to the candidates and their agents in writing and inform them, say, because of basa and happening to say a movie college center na say they must be informed in writing, or you go for a court order, then on the basis of that court order would be a movie college center, and in that court order you will state in it so we move from her so that all the candidates and their agents will be aware. MPP for year 2 December 7 I mean, I said, constituency win, and this win 6 times. Into your car presidential, and you know who say President Mahama and win presidential, then preempted. I said, no, one share, and this candidate to be winning. Into one of them started by some. They be almost saying this for the started by some. But this is the genesis. Yeah, but presidential, and you know who so more lose straight, more lose presidential. So by implication, and I said, we get logical deduction, inference. We say, oh, ABI. And they lose parliamentary, and they lost the parliamentary. some of the best buy. Now on the basis of that, you see, any MPP move coalition center from Pandai to Tamale. I any more. So you're caught on the basis of some way. On what 41 police stations? Resource is about 10,000. There be arguments and say, you're contesting 41 police stations. And the other court, cancel the entire resource. Go and read MPP function written address to the court. Almost 30 women say, and this is first sought for what? 14 reliefs. Written address. I'm not even talking about here reliefs now require 14. But among us admit and they are written final address to the court. Say, and this is for execute for 14 reliefs. And one of the reliefs they say the court should cancel the entire resource and order for rerun. And the court upheld that relief. And this is baby I can say you contested 41 police stations. Now this the court, order for the entire rerun now. This is the explanation. This is the explanation. Now, Mate, some statements from I'm gonna go for to say the minority chief whip. Another MCC come home. Another problem kaya. Tama NDC yes and buy the question as and buy. On one original parliament. I can tell you and say there was separation of powers.
That time they no kai separation of powers.
And that the court is an independent body.
Oh for you.
And the court now in Ejuma, we should respect the decision of the court. And then the same person, original parliament, catch and say, court decision now tungu.
So what happens to separation of powers?
That is the question you are asking there. And then what happens to the separation of powers? No, pretty in 4 years ago. The same person speaking from double size of his mouth. And this is for me. Only credibility be now. Because anka only say not the dispute by home.
Another pretty answer, sir.
Yes.
Some free on about. Ramon Gayo.
Your candidate now one.
A lot. Diving damango kura. Jinapo Abu Jinapo. Aye, Hokra.
Yes, issue by home.
Yes, Hokra is here. And I honum. Mammy or Etema Mayo.
Yeah. It
be bright one.
Yes.
Anna, I feel so. Or can't.
Nancy, the G from Mr.
Debbie
Manoff. And no cancer.
Debbie, where do you make no? Oh, catch you know yet 3 hours. Baba Sadiko.
Yes.
Okay,
Central.
A lot of places.
Yes.
And I have one. No, there are a lot of places.
Yes. All those places we had issues because they attempted some conbehavior. What I say? And see, for me, sorry, run now. It's a suspension of Supreme Court at the Albano. They are only postponing the defeat of the MPP. Now, company forces to try their brain.
I didn't tell.
Why didn't they? Now, here they are to throw away on budget. Now, come another platform says, the way our MPP are disorganized. The way our MPP are to tap handsome. The way our Dr. Baumiane Kufado, our army some rebel leaders. MPP men. Some flag bearer elections in the crown. My conjures and this in contest. In the Pandad, for one conclusion. Yet then, didn't tobacco cry. It's just postponement of their defeat. And I know, say, at the right time, the NDC and the candidates there will take that seat away from them.
So you can't talk about the beast beating and this. I know Otu Darko, please don't do that. That explained even press conference crackers. Me interviewed the Northern Regional Vice Chairman of NDC and Rechi, and now I'm some friend of course made. There was nothing like that. What about the baby?
Assuming that meeting point there was something like that. So when was the why should we? I dare ask the
Accident.
This is an accident.
I don't know.
So why should we
Yeah,
discuss?
find politics.
Yes.
It's okay.
I must say, this Abu be but why should we be happy about
It's-
accident?
Nana, once I can that issue, once maybe almost the fourth time I may discuss that issue. But to a very large extent, and before me, shall blame you almost out. And the other maker say, I'm not blaming them. Say, this their legal jangling and legal gymnastics. No, you know. In few more, what them say two teams, two teams to ball. Now possession, you can say team A, possession about 80%. Let B, possession about 20%. Automatically, no 20%. Let me say, you are forced to play nonsense. And see, Osha NDC administration from January to date. Osha send a nyama koso, send a nyama like the way things are progressing without any scandal for the first year. No, I'm not MP before no. May I would suggest say by now no before December by no young person medical team for no check BP in because sometimes you know Osha the kind of inconsistency I'm placing around no you put you on tears here because case here this same and that case first issue easy before we call high court to go and let me say petition for any election malpractice. The election result must be gazetted. So you see, I'll come to the electoral commissioner before before court petition when Abebano 24th of December. That was when the EC gazetted the first result. But when the EC gazetted the result was not conclusive, and that was the stemmer. NDC candidate where the Oko court said we challenging results no. And more MPP for no. We say the gazetted results no. That's not matured yet for you to go and petition. So what did the NDC candidate do? Or withdraw case no. What I say? Because MPP are saying say time no. Because after the gazetted result you have to petition within 21 days. Yes. But now they are saying the NDC candidate petition after 32 days. So, but as at 6th of January, no, that was when the EC finalized the results, and that was when our candidate went to petition. You see, this is where I'm calling for the Makasim with the BSA by Matt, Chief Justice and final reporter, Matt President, to establish any prima facie case against the electoral commission. Against the electoral commissioner, I'll petition the removal of the electoral commissioner again, because we are suffering because of her. Because why would you publish a result which was not conclusive? Because 2020 are the same thing. 2020 who published presidential results 6 times, and they say no, which one is accurate? Which of them is accurate? No, I think say the Makasa by Matt. If nothing positive comes, we will go and repetition the president for a removal. Because the woman is putting Ghana in economical distress. Because imagine the amount of money that we are going to use for this rerun again, if it will come on. What did I say? And now we going forward now. Also MPP for now. How do I say it? They are not being frank to themselves. They are not being generous to Ghanaians. Have you seen anywhere? When we say any of the NDC, any of the MPP, MP or politician or whoever it is, disclaiming any of the fact that was presented at the High Court. They have not disputed any of the allegations that we submitted at the High Court, because the case was filed in January. The court from January to November. You could not defend yourself. You could not justify any of the case. And today the High Court has given a ruling, and today you are talking about procedural process has been flawed. Which procedural process has been flawed? But I think the MPP, I don't know what they stand for. But when him say the last time the director of elections, deputy director of elections for NDC was in Tandai. Together with Rashid Tankumi, they saw MPP guys campaigning already. So me when they say every before no, they are trying to play on the minds of Ghanaians. Say, what the my 3 months was Supreme Court. Now at the same time, no, we have people on the grounds campaign, but it will not work. It will not work, and the victory of the NDC parliamentary candidate Wapa, it is non-negotiable, because as I'm now at that court, no, one thing the listeners know is say the Supreme Court has not annulled the ruling of the High Court. No, the Supreme Court has only stated say the electoral commissioner should hold on peacefully, so that they will give opportunity to both parties and they will listen to them on the 13th of January. So it's not as if say the High Court ruling has been annulled. No, it's just but come to think of it, I mean you can. And yeah, before no more can say you can say the court has become a kangaroo. Today, when they went to Supreme Court and the statement was in their favor, because what way they had done, it will help them mobilize to be able to campaign, no, to extend their time to campaign. No, after almost say the court is for free and is for them, also free and justice. So every before no.
The kangaroo court. Someone say a kangaroo. They are free and then.
After the last time in Parliament, they were hooting at the clerk to Parliament. This same MPP hooting at the clerk to Parliament. Say, I didn't think that was what throw the electoral commission.
You remember, say, even in our days at university, University of Ghana student parliament, yes, we're not doing that.
No,
we're very civil.
So, but you see, the insincerity of the MPP is dangerous, because the same speaker back now was the speaker when the Question's case was also we can say no more comfortable back with the Question case. As at that time, no, when the speaker was writing to the electoral commission says "Ni seat you're vacant," no, what did they say about it? But it like the case is just similar, because at the same time the High Court gave the ruling, then this has also made a kind of say appeal for stay of execution. But the same speaker today now I know why we there no Momo can say we say the trauma has go. That's why minister submission me say better pound and help medical team.
Now I feel like we say Otu can Yindam vote himself as MP
currently.
No, the court decision still holds. The court decision still holds, because the Supreme Court did not annul anything.
Annul the court.
It only said election.
And
the notice was specifically to electoral commission.
But it doesn't. That decision does not invalidate the High Court.
And the Supreme Court really know it's not even ruling. It's just a way a case appeal to the electoral commission. Say 30th December no, the nyabotre. Because at the end of the day, no, what we need is what
still hold himself as MP.
Yeah, he
since Supreme Court and only
no.
High Court,
yes, he can. Nyindam is not an MP.
No. Yeah. Because ono Nyindam na hang upon ono kapon him say abare no. We naka if think, but come to think of it. Nana we dey boa me. Yeah. Nkofo no mo to abama o wo tandan no. And they also won't trust omo, but won't trust the Supreme Court. The people who voted for you today, those people, they are not credible.
Say honorable Nyinda, wouldn't say who we need here. That's simple.
It's very simple. He said no, like they know slow.
Hey,
na Supreme Court.
There be a saying this for me because Sally, Yehunia ye, asen of. Yehunia ye, akwetia. Munim niamoye se mo yehu. I just say I'm fan to one of my that be they say mo
na hu bibi a me
mutri modern dodo. Mutri modern. MP before you bunu no, but they say mo bom dodo.
I say je bi mo bom.
I just say I'm fan to one this year.
Say na make catch us say begin catch us say we can say the performance of the NDC now is forcing the MPP
to play no. Akwetia baby and they thought they win.
Yeah.
It's kwanda de omsoro pa o.
Yeah. No, you see.
Because originally NDC seat.
Say you mean 6 times.
We in economics say.
I want to say before 2024. Na yen hold this seat now.
Yeah,
so 2020 means
the same in them Olusu 2020 elections. And 2024 on also Babio. So he has been contesting for some time now. And I think this is his first time contesting. I think so.
No, he
has been an MP.
From 2020.
He was an MP. He was NDC's MP.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Nindam was not the MP.
Yes, Nindam lost the seat in 2020.
But on say we pandemic it no. We NDC for campaign. They shouldn't even campaign because you see now Ghanaians have transformed. You see there, when you found food information be up be obenya. You say no. Who would you? You say Gabo say me catch you say Mahama I established 24-hour economy. You will not challenge me because you can take your phone and verify. But things say NDC for no more than dino. The shame of say elections no there by God's grace. You come on. We need to take our seat back because from 2000 that place has been our seat. And in them now no buy any schemish. But unfortunately for him, I make us say no.
Intikwanda is turning green.
No, it has always been green.
That
has been MP there only twice.
Anyway.
And I meant to
Mati, Beto.
Nana, Sana Dena Econo. NDC for other need to say Ronaldo on the peak. NDC for other need to say Ronaldo at time. On the prime, or Bobo, or the border to a power go, or the border to a power go. Because not be a Juma. They ran the speed, the crosses, maybe a son of head the ball, maybe a son of NDC for a NDC party now is so attractive. I understand the fears of the MPP. Yes, legal gymnastics now more, because Usha critically, Usha case now. MPP for any case. In all discussions somewhere so far. Concerning the Pandai elections, MPP for and to me and Kase. The grounds are yaba on the irregularities, and no your force.
Yes.
They are standing on procedures.
Yes. And
procedure when the statute or law creates a right. And on my procedures you don't enforce it right now.
That procedure must be the only procedure to be followed.
Very good. And away no law not creating statutes no. But again all this my question is as a result of the super incompetence of the electoral commission.
Yes.
Because of our electoral commission we're led by Jinaduko Emensa. So the number of seats are challenging were cut. Because of omissions of actions that were supposed to have been performed by officers of the electoral commission. And then, should the see Pandai? It's not a fault of any of the candidates, but because of the incompetence of the electoral commissioner, Jinaduko Emensa. And the MPP candidates knew very well, sir, and you don't know winning elections, no. So they are going on procedural issues. And then Ombeka almost say they've gotten judgment already from the traditional authorities. Omako Juju Akonga judgment because bees are called NDC for Panda. This is the thinking of the people who want Ghanaians and the people of Pandai to take them serious and vote for their candidates. Say that now I'm dream. Say I'm dream. And I'm telling you today, say you're holding any rerun. And a by election, even with Bantama, NDC will win. That's it. And then you hold the rerun or by election in Bantama, NDC will win that's it. The parliamentarians, some micro minority parliamentarians, numbers carry their mamu or parliament, so then I'm there. Some micro minority parliamentarians give the NDC constructive opposition, criticize constructively. Let Ghanaians know, say, that's what the fact say. Money numbers no. Your content, your intellect, more substance in Ejuma Amoye. But day in, day out, MPP continues to confirm the symbolic and disgraceful defeat in the 2024 elections. Omo confirming say Ghanaians made the right choice by voting massively for NDC. And today, say you already re-election even for presidential. That percentage number dropping more further down. Dropping further down. At one point, a court has given a decision, and the court with the original jurisdiction say Parliamentary petitions is the High Court. And the High Court, which is the court of competent jurisdiction, care about relief sought by Wapala. Say Wapala was talking about 41 police stations, and the court gave a decision to annul the whole result and say that you should call for Iran. The Wapala was telling you that 41 irregularities, sir, now more identified in the 41 police stations affected the entire elections, and those things repeated in almost all the police stations.
Yes.
The court, in its wisdom, a competent judge, a competent court of jurisdiction, as to the case, Eka said, while cancelling all the results and the elections in Pandai should be rerun. At that point, the MPP described the judicial system, say, oh yeah, kangaroo judicial system. At that point, I'm describing say a kangaroo judicial system, and then this informal statistical jubility ahead of the court hearing. Meanwhile, your lawyers, when they went to court, already had now move was stay of execution.
That's your bottom.
If you didn't know the judgment of the day. Who named judgment of the day at the court now? Other than lawyers, I'm court on behalf of the MPP parliamentary candidates. Now we get stay of execution on bottom. Other than we get notice of appeal on bottom. And you said NDC supporters were already jubilating down because they are in bed with the judiciary, and then you made judgment. You had a bad case from the beginning.
What was bad? What was in bed?
You had a bad case from the beginning.
Market, you court 12 o'clock.
You had a bad case from the beginning. Or you think, sir, kangaroo system of justice? No, we are under more administration. No. NDC bet the Fourth Republic. The democracy, freedom, it was based by the National Democratic Congress.
Yes.
And you be able to protect the peace and the legacy of the democracy. So we not do anything. Even at the time, when they were infringing upon our rights, no more almost say all the state institutions are, and so more upholding democracy in this country. Yankashi, we still abided by rules. We still abided by the laws of Ghana. Anybody close to the MPP, anybody close to Ngidam, may catch them say, Sika kakra I can know when the bottom no. Offensive. Now, the MPP led by their current executives and their shadow flag bearer, a serial loser who will lose again, he will be the flag bearer, no better Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. A serial loser because there's nothing new out there. We show the conduct. I'm compare some guy say can was na yeah for Mahama say go for be gaga.
Not some person we na.
Motherfucker say wa kan.
O
the motherfucker.
Yeah. Etu pa twawe na wo na.
Ato so.
Etu pa twawe na wo.
The current leadership of the MPP led by our current national executive Justin Kodua Mone shadow flag bearer money, they don't have nothing new to offer. Ngidam omo muslidi wo sika kakra oboto mu a fasie na fa ko hwe wo yire no mamu wo fie because who decide sika no by election no mu a wo be lose and I make catch MPP before ye the ball and I say the cap and a ball post you na catch NDC and the MPP say competition now we will not be complacent they be make sure say you winning because our ball now they see okra say yeah, competing with the German MPP because they are incompetent, they are clueless. Almost you and answer from the NCR, almost losing abysmally in the 2024 elections. So we are going to the Mandai elections with no complacency. Whatever the court decision comes, whatever court ruling comes out, we need this in by day. By society as suspended, nobody holds himself. We'll go into the case, you make sure their courts. So whether you are going to uphold, is it 6th January, 13th January, and then the 24th. December, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're upholding no, depending on which one is upheld, no, best to study the dynamics of the case. However, we are ready and on the grounds, but we'll do no matter the court decision, no, with the National Democratic Congress will make sure say you're abided by the decision of the court.
Very.
I'm not going to he's calling the president with immediate effect on your reshuffling. MPP, your mobile ban. How long did it take them to do reshuffling?
As an MPP, they are acting the opposite way.
They're acting the opposite way. And I'm surprised the reasons why he's telling the president to do reshuffling. He said, what filing case on the other paper, and the minister has absented himself from coming to address it. And the minister wrote to Clark officially that I'll be absent. then for that matter we need to reshuffle the ministers. More than 3 years. 1 year, the 1 year reshuffling until earlier date in 2020.
Another umbrella. I'm saying time you're exposing. So see minister answer questions of parliament president should do a reshuffle. Okay. I have in my hand a story dated 25th March 2022.
No time and work. And I don't
know. They be say it's the same argument now.
For after informed parliament, he won't be available for questioning. I say
same another prayer. Where was the majority?
Date today. 25th March 2022.
And another president.
Another president. I say head you know. I say for after informed parliament that he will not be available. Another prayer. Neti, sorry, no see. The majority chief whip, Frank Anodompre, has revealed that the finance minister wrote to parliament about his unavailability to appear before the house to answer questions on Thursday, March 24, 2022. We here, in the Bomnia Manaf, Obia, Satam for that, I saw about parliament by answer questions. When to me and back. And Anodompre was justifying the entire for your attempt to member parliament. I may answer questions. And that it should be what? Pardon.
And also president
and then Nyakimiti. Obient member may.
Furiata create 88 ministers. You will shuffle Furiata.
No, just wrap up. You know what is funny? Only say, no more Abemuno, no more ministry of monetary and evaluation.
Yes.
One say the purpose of that ministry was to monitor the performance of ministers. So that funny enough, yes, true. Omo cabinet, omo red colors, omo red, yellow, green. So say minister no back cabinet. No church say we are green there. That means you are performing well. We are yellow. That means more room for improvement. We are red there. Then like what feeling? We established a whole ministry to monitor to do that. But within 3 years, crap not man reshuffling. Now in the over catch
it's in the crack right say now.
On
this some moral temerity.
Okay.
And I think say MB before.
Matter.
No.
2 minutes.
NPP parliamentary flag bearer race. For the first time, almost flag bearer race ahead of reorganization of the structure. I share how clueless and lost MPP for air, and we'll share some of the comments from the leading members. This will be to say Honorable Atachia, former MP for Boadu South. And I will say that I fear Kennedy Japan could beat some of his cabinet members as president. His temperament scares me. Samuel Atachia. This is just a presidential
Maybe say no muso mompe Kennedy. Say Kennedy no ekowini and some you makafa no hin. O me den ya ton in the national election.
Ammunition.
Ammunition is when you know the man DC. Address for the no or the man DC.
Kennedy baby mama Adwoa Safo.
But I say MPP. Me try no say MPP me na me yo. Oh, me do ma for baby. Oh, because that be do me shut that do ma for baby. Oh, now on here. You didn't know.
I didn't know.
Oh, me na me MPP. Oh, me na me go no. Oh, me do ma for baby. Hi. That be me go no.
Oh, but the most started 1st January no. Journalists for the same
so
there's a book of confirm elections because I met you meeting there.
You met me so no.
Adwoa Safo so ekoye campaign or ka say Kennedy Japan no onina wo mami no back in the Dane president man appointment. First of all, showing from two angles. Adwoa Safo is being selfish.
Yes.
And the MPP party, most of them is about their selfish interests. And this is somebody who represented the whole constituency Domi Kobinya for Amutemi. You can see the kind of selfish person that represented you in parliament.
MP no.
Also baby. I didn't know not all dreaming who play more to TikTok and the because on another hand, no campaign for Kenya Japan say Kenya Japan is not going to engage in family and friends. I just have a catcher say the MPP know they are used to family and friends. These people know almost the same as Subanye, almost the same Madrid, almost the branding, no to by a mistake, and see a name and see in the next 12 years, the next by mistake, be to aso aye family and friends no me we no nyama bebre nyama papa bebre e koso controller and accountant general you say allowance na ye to teachers no controller pays delayed education sector allowance alongside disabled
Bronya ne be de
Aban papa na aban.
Bronya ne be de peche
aba from
is it wiemu ye
internet na say no CTV yawada movie na
program
na mo ya 8 internet go for to me extra say no because say no go for nya election
more fire
no nya election that we be see it's now on the hearing change
and direction so no a short direction
and I for the brain nyama bo aba for me to wait na tina say how chow wine be na no hearing
when say and na me wo fie ana me nya information lady bi otekwa mkwati na ene kwa mkwati akọ
Kwachia.
Try make our producer. Or say me bua many evidence.
Fantastic producer.
Or say me bua many evidence. Enti me evidence I mean post on Facebook. Enti ebusia for someone who say my post to picture be na oba bi te kwame kwache so a. Or say me evidence I mean post. Enti me proving it wrong.
Professional journalist.
Now we no undercover o and me dey nya you. Yes, na me share papa no share man 7 say. Anas dey ni bi.
Oba no moye dey.
Enyo no ni. Enyo kwa kwache ni.
Oba no moye dey.
Enyo kwa kwache ni. Enyo kwa kwache ni. Say o say me post wo.
Ghana ye dey.
Say the okwa so e ma fofofo. Enti oni ha. Onim so use 125 inches TV. What cry? John Mahama could be money them.
125.
I mean, I'm quite.
No. She say capono. She say cast no. Obia glass for so.
Obia most of the shops in Ghana and Black Friday 50% off, 30% off. Even some of the adverts on television, no Ghana. Omo ya adverts now. Because dollar number from number from.
Now,
and then there, move on to me.
Candidates suffer from their credibility crisis. Bakunu kwa no work a Ekufado, a package by China phone. Or the dying.
What's the
Messe Ekufado.
A package by me as China phone.
Say, iPhone is not China phone.
I paid more than
on the brand of your toy. You better do anything with a China phone. Then some Mikasa. Ekufado catch and say, on the ba a ba nkontabu a ba economist any sika sama sabi on the oni enti wakafo bi of Bank of Ghana so meboano and this phrase we buy seed 9 hata do what can say phrase no too enti ba me boy seed ne ho ba me ba me be seed from 4 cedis 50 pesos o the fuse na 17 cedis to the dollar
enti
no
and now
that
also far time no free baby
yes
what the basi
medicine o ka chere Cape Coast me fantini so obesi airport amen
okay
the next day Ekufado call Cape Coast be say yes obesi airport amen I say yange be say the okan no
Mate